There will be spoilers in this podcast. There will be offensive content and swearing, and handy time index will appear in the episode description. This is Two Fat Guys Talk episode 80, the 4th annual Fat Guys Predictions episode. My name is Carlitos, and I'm joined, as always, by Davaniel, a.k.a. Dave.
Yay!
You don't like the name Davaniel?
I'm fine with it.
I think it's a great long-form version of Dave.
Absolutely.
It's like, Dave, that's short for David? No, Davaniel. So, Dave, this is our 4th...
episodes in 4 years.
4 years of this.
I didn't think we'd make 4 episodes.
And the anime rave. And yes, we have a 4th annual of something. A tradition, even. That we have been doing since the beginning. And that is where our dumbasses predict things for the upcoming year, while, as of the second one onward, looking back at our old predictions and seeing how off we were.
Granted, the last year's we didn't really take too seriously. We kind of threw that together in about a 5-minute segment.
I was listening to that, and I'm remembering, and I was like, oh yeah, Dave said not to prepare a list, and then he prepared a list. That ass.
The first time ever you listened to me.
Yeah, I know. There's always a first for everything, eh? All right, before we predict 2016, let's look back at our 2015 predictions. I'll start, if you're cool with that.
Go ahead.
All right, last year, Carlos predicted that the Wii U will continue the comeback it started in 2014 and really kick the shit out of its competitors in 2015. What happened instead is that the Wii U stayed kind of steady and didn't really kick anyone's ass. It didn't die or nothing. It didn't have its ass kicked. It just kind of held there.
Yeah, it's almost in a limbo position at this juncture. Like, what did we have for major releases for the Wii U this year?
Look, shut up, okay?
Or, I guess...
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I guess seeing as we're talking about this now in 2016, last year. But,
Yoshi's Woolly World. Super Mario Maker is a big one. Even more Smash Brothers content. More DLC than I ever thought the game would have.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't even think about anything. I didn't think about Mario Maker.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'll admit that was big for Nintendo, it's sad that a game that does less than what ROM hacks have done for the past 10 is a major seller for the Wii U.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair comment. I predicted that Sony and Microsoft will finally move their next-gen consoles forward in 2015. That was a bit of a vague comment that was meant to kind of say, hey, there's a reason to own them. And I would say I was correct, but not nearly as correct as I hoped.
Maybe, and okay, let me preface this by saying, I've got all the systems now.
Yeah, you do. I'm looking at them all.
I don't give my loyalty to one brand just because it's a brand. I go where the games are.
Sure. The only one I'm missing of the big three is an Xbox One.
And you're waiting for Gears 4 pretty much.
And money.
Yeah.
Gears 4 and money are the big factors there.
But this year, I would say Sony won this year. They sold more systems. They sold way more games.
They got a ton of exclusives.
They kind of rocked Microsoft's world this year.
I wouldn't say Microsoft was rocked. It ended up in second very decisively.
Even Microsoft, with their numbers, Microsoft no longer gives sales numbers anymore. They give shipped numbers. Whereas Sony's quite glad to, with a smirk, come back and say, Microsoft, we've sold 20 million. Or our total sold for PS4 has been 27 million consoles. You've shipped 15? Oh, good job, Microsoft. I just love how Microsoft isn't helping itself.
In fairness, it's not like Microsoft stagnated in 2015 either.
It didn't stagnate, but
there's more reason than ever to have an Xbox One.
Well, we'll get to some of that later.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No apologies. We were both talking about it. I said it would be a killer year for all of the big three, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Sony for sure. The other two had successes, but I wouldn't call them killer years either. Mm-hmm. I said Street Fighter V will be out sooner than we think and will suck. Pretty much looks like a prettier Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter V is not out yet, and it looks actually really good and feels really good. And even you've tried it.
Yeah.
And all the mechanics and the design philosophies of it make me think, wow, this is actually going to be awesome. And it looks way better than a prettier Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
So I was dead wrong there. I said Half-Life 3 will be announced because I'm an idiot. I said more Western third-party development will happen on Wii U because I'm an idiot. I said Luke may be a hermit, but the Force Awakening will be the Force returning to random, non-Force-sensitive people, like in Legend of Korra. Once again, there is spoiler warning for everything, including the Force Awakens. So Luke is a hermit, but that Force Awakening was more the Force Awakening in Rey, perhaps. Although we may find out if a Force Awakening type event is still in the works for the next film. Finn looking up at the sky on Jakku is what he became Force sensitive. I was way wrong on that. The villain in The Force Awakens is trying to use the light and dark sides of the Force. Lawful evil, possibly a Jedi even, and morally ambiguous. More gray areas in Star Wars. I'm going to say that I was kind of right. Sort of, but we don't know the full story yet.
Okay. I'm going to disagree on this. Mm-hmm. You were right about the dark side of the Force. Not about the light side of the Force, not the lawful evil.
Well, totally the lawful evil. They want to restore law and order to the galaxy in evil ways. That makes them lawful evil.
Villain, which would be Darth, dipshit there.
What the fuck are you talking about? What Darth was in The Force Awakens?
Or, well, our main villain, whose name completely,
Kylo Ren?
Thank you.
Yeah.
He wasn't lawful in any way, shape, or form in that. Come on. He was as chaotic.
I wouldn't say he's chaotic. I would say he's looking
he's a whiny little bitch, so maybe goes a little bit with chaos.
He is looking for an evil, for an order, but not really finding one. I'd call him neutral evil. I wouldn't call him chaotic. Star Wars villains don't tend to be chaotic. They tend to want order at any cost, even if it's...
Yeah, it was more his actions that were chaotic.
Sure, you got pissed, that's for sure.
A whiny little bitch syndrome.
I said Rey is Han and Leia's daughter. That's probably not going to be true.
No. At most, Rey will be Luke's daughter.
I don't even think that's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't, honestly. Force Awakens will be, at the very least, very good. Correct on that, it's a great fucking movie.
Yep.
Disney's going to own everything soon. Still may happen. Crimea will still be part of Russia, according to Russia. Still true. Canada will elect a progressive conservative majority. I am so glad I am wrong on that. The Obama administration will still not get anything meaningful done. Kinda right, kinda wrong. They have made some inroads. The rich will get richer. The gulf between rich and poor is growing and will continue to grow. Yes, but with a cautious optimism that maybe we're smartening up to this. Those were my 2015 predictions. Dave, read up yours.
I didn't do as many. I said Sony would come out on top in 2015. More games, more exclusives, and less headaches.
Ding ding.
Well, I was right about 3 of the 4. Less headaches, not so much. They've had some problems this year with PSN.
Sure.
And stuff, but here's the thing. I don't actually blame Sony or Microsoft when some dipshits are DDoSing them.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah, Sony's been the largest target and been taken down, but it's really not Sony's fault. It's a lot harder than... You always see people be like, well, this is the animation of how DDoS works, why can't you just do this? It's like, well, it's not just as simple as turning this flag on and shifting the traffic elsewhere. It still affects your entire network. And you can shut down one IP range that's attacking you, but an actual true DDoS attack comes from all over the planet.
The viruses take over people's machines and execute the attacks. Like
botnets, everything else. So it's not as simple as, the computer's not being powered by a hamster. The engineer guys are not playing cards while things are down. They are trying to get things back up. It just sucks when assholes do this.
Mm-hmm. And law enforcement sucks for a wide variety of reasons, not the least of which is that they are still woefully unprepared to tackle online crime, which is what they should be tackling instead of, terrorizing minorities and women, but whatever.
I said Microsoft would buy more timed third-party exclusives. I was right.
Ding ding. So far, so good.
Sony will buy Capcom.
Didn't happen,
but Sony was the reason why Capcom still exists.
Oh, sure. Like the prediction is incorrect, but the spirit of it is dead on.
I mean, I could still see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we get to my 2016 predictions.
Oh, fun.
Nintendo will not gain much ground, will ride on its first-party titles, and maintain its status quo.
You're on a roll so far.
New Zelda on Wii U will not be seen until 2016.
Well, actually, if that game gets delayed one more year, your prediction will be incorrect. Which is why the prediction should have been that you won't see it in 2015, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. New Gears of War title announced. I was right.
Mm-hmm.
XBone exclusive, right? But will not ship until 2016.
Probably correct. Yeah, your predictions last year is spot on.
Final Fantasy 15, only out in 2016.
Remains to be seen, probably correct.
It'll be out this year. Square can't afford any more delays.
Yeah, but Square is incompetent, so what do you do?
Square will push out a buggy piece of shit before they will delay it another year.
Let's not forget that they made like a Final Fantasy quality control committee, and that committee includes Motomo Toriyama. So, I mean...
Kingdom Hearts 3 only out in 2016. I know I'm going to be wrong on that because
I'm going to read that prediction as it didn't come out in 2015.
Sure.
Yeah.
EA will allow their games back onto Steam. I failed there. No Half-Life 3 announcement, but there will be a new Portal or Left 4 Dead. That was incorrect.
Yeah, well, you were right about the no Half-Life 3 part.
The U.S. is fucked for another 6 years. They're going to vote in a Republican president.
Well,
I'm probably going to be right on that, but I was a little early.
Little early on that prediction.
Russia will push hard enough such that in 2015 there will be a UN pushback. RE the issue in Crimea.
Regarding the issue of Crimea.
And Russia will be booted out of the UN. Well, that was wishful thinking, as if the UN actually mattered.
So, now that we've gone over our 2015 predictions, I'm going to say that you won because you got more right. I'm going to say my predictions were more bold because I just need a victory somehow. Who wants to do their 2016 predictions first?
You're first in the list. Go ahead.
I only put myself first in the list because I have a sense of self-importance. You can do yours first. If you really
can go ahead.
Okay. These are Carlos's official 2016 predictions.
Carlos before Brains and Beauty.
Yeah. Thank you. Carlos, 2016. The new Zelda on Wii U will be kick-ass. That is a prediction.
Only if Linkle's part of it.
That would be nice. Gears of War 4, like most Final Fantasy games, will be an entirely different universe with similar themes. It will be good, but not great. I say this because it's just a hunch. Doom 4 and Bethesda's stupid free-to-play card game will disappoint, as does every Bethesda game ever. I'm going to, in advance, claim victory on this one as having been a correct prediction, because, let's be real with ourselves. The Nintendo NX will be officially announced and will be a hybrid portable TV console. I think that's an easy prediction to make. Square Enix will contract an external company to make an FF6 sequel. Yes, I'm aware this will never happen, but I'm a predict it anyway, fuck you. This is going to be a shitty movie year. Steven Universe will remain the best thing on television, though Star vs. the Forces of Evil will narrow the gap considerably. I think.
Well, as long as you're not in the UK.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that, I guess. Well, let's talk about that briefly now. Cartoon Network UK, they're allowed to present a slightly different product for their region. It's not technically censorship, just like how it's not censorship for Skullgirl's panty shots to get removed. However, one of these two issues is far more important to talk about and to change. That's really my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a new Slayers anime announced, and it too will suck.
Maybe.
The Gravity Falls finale will disappoint somewhat, but it will be a suitable send-off.
Well, this is from the person who didn't like the D&D episode, so
the D&D
you're
episode,
already wrong.
It was a garbage episode, and everyone who liked it is wrong. Bernie Sanders is the next U.S. president. Please, please, oh please. I know the cynic in me died a little bit when I made that prediction, but it came back full force. Don't worry. Those are my... Let's talk briefly about my 2016 predictions. I'm going to say that's a solid set of predictions.
What are you basing the shitty movie year around?
A hunch. Just a hunch. I'm like, what's coming out this year?
Okay, Kung Fu Panda this month.
Yeah.
Next month is...
the trends of the Kung Fu Panda movies is that each one's a little worse than the last, so...
There's only been 2.
I know. It's still a trend.
No. For a trend to start, you need more than 2 points of data.
I don't see how that's codified anywhere.
Come on. To have a trend, you need more than 2 points of data.
Well, when the
1, 2 do not make a trend.
Well, when the third one ends up being more disappointing than the second, we'll have our trend. Don't worry.
Then there would be a trend.
Sure, it's gonna disappoint.
Maybe. Probably.
Like, it'll be alright. It'll be better than a lot of other movies.
Speaking of, Deadpool.
Maybe.
I'm holding out hope for Deadpool.
Me too.
Because it is Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been fighting to make sure that this remains a adult film. Which, with Deadpool's language, it kind of needed to be.
Hoping so. We'll see, though. What else comes out this year?
I'd have to start looking at a list because those are the 2 movies that I've been looking forward to.
Doctor Strange is out this year, is that right?
It?
I don't know. All I know is that, Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. Yay, another white guy. There's room for... After Ant-Man, after Ant-Man, I don't give Marvel any passes when it comes to this garbage status quoing of casting and storytelling. There's supposed to be an X-Wing movie out this year. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Like...
Actually, if they do their sequential movies well, like, actually the X-Wing books, based on their own teams and everything else, were great. Back in the day. So just because it's the X-Wing movie, I mean, if they focused on Poe or any of the actual X-Wing pilots, because Rogue Squadron was reformed to become more than just an X-Wing team. They were able to do espionage. They were able to do counterinsurgency. They were more than just pilots, and that's really what they need to focus on in an X-Wing movie, is that they're more than just hotshot pilots.
Sure. And they could also use the film to give us a few glimpses of what's about to happen next as well. Like,
exactly.
Even the Han Solo movie can start with him getting killed in the stupid base on the Starkiller planet, and then show a flashback of his life as he's falling, and then he lands and survives, and it turns out he never died. Like,
it's not happening, Carlos.
We'll see. I still think Mace Windu's alive, for fuck's sake. Like,
well, no, Mace.
I hope Mace Windu saves Han Solo.
In canon, Mace Windu survived.
We don't know that.
Well, no, we actually do.
No, we don't. Where? Where do we know that Mace Windu survived?
Rebels is considered canon,
mm-hmm.
as is the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I know that, but... Wait, they've shown Mace Windu in Rebels?
Hang on. As is a couple of the prequel books which are not part of the Legends timeline, leading up to episodes 4, 5, and 6. And guess who happens to be in one of those books? Mace fucking Windu.
Well, hopefully Sam Jackson comes back for episode 8 then.
Well, yeah, it's only been 30 years. Well, at this point, 70 years.
Whatever. He has an excuse to look old and raggedy. It's fine. Yeah.
But really, no, you're probably dead on a lot of those. I mean, we know the NX is gonna come out this year.
Or at least
Be announced, rather. Doom 4 is not going to be what we want. Though I hold out hope they might be able to salvage something of it, but we'll see.
Real talk, I think it'll probably be okay. It's just that I'm... For the sake of making a Bethesda shitting prediction, I mean, it fits.
Yeah.
And I know the FF6 will never happen, but
yeah,
that's more wishful thinking. I always throw in some wishful thinking predictions, right? All right.
Here's mine.
Dave, 2016, go.
The new Zelda will have the better version be on their new console thing, the NX.
You're talking about the NX, okay. Kind of like with the Skyward garbage game. Skyward Sword.
No, actually, Skyward Sword was only on the Wii.
Sorry, I meant to say Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess, yes. Yeah. And even then, it just was better looking.
Very slightly.
Well, no. It was better looking, period.
Very slightly.
Mm-hmm. No more big announcements from Nintendo for the Wii U. Only news will be for when the new system comes out. Okay. I expect no more major first-party titles until the NX.
Okay, fair enough. Are you counting the new Zelda on that?
Yeah, the new Zelda's already been announced.
Okay.
Doom 4 will be okay, but nothing to write home about.
Probably correct.
Republican win for president because Americans are sheep.
Oh, I hope we're not talking about how right you are at the end of this year.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts will not see release in 2016. Might be pushed back due to Final Fantasy VII. In fact, even if it's not pushed back because of Final Fantasy VII, I'm still saying 2017 late at the earliest at this point. Because they're not even doing a lot of the major work until Final Fantasy 15's done, and seeing as 15 isn't released yet, they're still working on it.
You want to feed my paranoia a bit? Make sure we're still recording?
Nope.
Nice.
Capcom will leverage their older game licenses and whore them out to third parties. If they aren't, as I suggested last year, bought by Sony. Because Capcom has admitted that if it wasn't for Sony stepping up and funding Street Fighter V, they might be under at this point. Which part of me is giddy on, because I wish Capcom would crash and burn, and their license would go to more talented developers. See Breath of Fire free-to-play monstrosity they released on cell phones.
I'll say this about that game. The official art for that game is really nice.
Sure. Art does not make a game.
I know.
Sony will continue to win this console generation due to having the better playing version of third-party games.
A safe prediction to make.
I mean, yes, Microsoft has now unlocked one of their cores towards developers, so they might be able to bring it more up to parity, but that's at sacrificing a whole bunch of their ideals. So I'm still giddy about that. We're never going to open up these cores because you need that to go back and forth between a TV show, a movie, and your video game. Because people do that all the time, you dumb fucks.
Yep.
Oculus Rift / virtual reality will crash and burn due to cost and investment. So,
yeah, we all saw the pricing.
$600 for the Oculus Rift, and that's American.
Yeah, here it'll be like $1,200.
So here's the thing. I already considered the first gen of virtual reality to be a waste already.
Yeah, the Virtual Boy was not a good thing.
Because Gen 1 stuff, I mean, you have to have the Gen 1 as your platform to leap to good stuff.
Well, the Virtual Boy was a while back.
Well, and let's go back even further. I mean, I remember back in the days of the Super NES, being here at our Klondike days, which is our summer kind of
They're
carnival.
They're called
season.
K-Days now, Dave.
Still, back then it was Klondike Days.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the version of virtual reality back then, which was basically Lawnmower Man. Now, there's a movie to look up.
Mm-hmm.
The very latest in virtual reality simulation technology, Lawnmower Man. But we really haven't advanced too far past that. The Oculus Rift looks neat, but if it costs too much for your average person to get, like Sony's already said that for whatever the hell their version of it is going to be, like they've got like 100 games supposedly they're going to use it. But is this going to be another Xbox Connect sort of thing where they're going to force a whole bunch of developers to make games for it, but nobody's going to want to use it because it's shit?
Much like how Motomo Toriyama makes me pine for the days of Tetsuya Nomura, who I used to hate, but he's not Toriyama. Virtual reality makes me pine for the days of 3D. I cannot wait until virtual reality dies. So I hope you're right.
Well, that's my prediction, but I hope we can actually move forward with an actual... I want VR to happen, but I want VR to happen more in the style of what we see in anime and in sci-fi than what they've got right now. That's all. Microsoft will try and push gamers onto Windows 10 with Windows 10 store exclusive games. And I have in brackets here, see Killer Instinct Season 3 exclusivity on Windows 10.
Now, when you say exclusivity, they're still putting the characters out on XBone.
Xbox One, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have that game on, say, Windows 7, you are shit out of luck. Because they are
I'm surprised it'll even run on Windows 7.
Really?
Like, why would they make it compatible with Windows 7? They didn't make Halo 2 compatible with anything but Vista.
Well, and this is where I'm going with this. If they start pushing this, it will fail badly. And remember what happened with Halo 2 and Shadowrun being Vista exclusives. Yes, Microsoft, you've given Windows 10 for free. Yes, a good number of people have jumped. But the gaming community, if you look at the numbers, are still back on Windows 7. And are not looking to jump to 8, and definitely not 10 anytime soon.
Well, the thing, though, is that I kind of get it, because, like, it's for the same reason they didn't put Killer Instinct out on Xbox 360. Nice as that would be for me, so I could actually use a joystick on it. They were using it as an app to bring people to their new things, so...
But, in this case, they actually did release Killer Instinct on Windows already. So what they're saying is...
Killer Instinct is already out on Windows?
Yeah.
Sure about that?
Pretty sure. Thought it was. Instinct. Maybe I'm under the wrong...
No, I think this is only a Windows 10 game, Dave. And it's not out yet. I thought that sounded weird to me.
Okay, I'm going to remove that prediction, because I was under the impression that they already released it on Windows.
Well,
I'm still going to say, though, that if they try and push people to Windows 10, by doing that, you will have people hack the game to work on Windows 7.
Sure, maybe, but I mean, yeah, I don't see it as necessarily a bad move. But yeah, that's prediction. You gonna go change that prediction real quick?
No.
No, seriously.
Oh, you're going to use this list for next year.
Yeah. Real-time edits.
There. All I have to do is remove the Killer Instinct reference. I still think they're going to try and push people into Windows 10.
Sure, fair enough.
My number 9 will disappoint, causing more damage to crowdfunding platforms.
Entirely possible. I like the demo.
Never played the demo.
You should probably try the demo.
I saw a couple people play a stage or two, and I'm like, yeah, this is Mega Man-like.
It's Mega Man X-like, really.
Is there a reason why it looks like it does? I wasn't.
Good.
I wasn't that impressed.
Well, your face doesn't impress me.
Bleach, the manga, will finally end. Restarting the anime to finish it, taking another 4 years and seasons worth of filler, even though the manga will be done.
Interesting prediction.
I know, it's funny me saying that the manga will finally end. I'm sure he still has another 5,000 new characters to introduce. New Full Metal Panic anime this year.
We'll see.
I think that one's guaranteed.
The first episode better be like Sosuke and Kaname having fucked. Because if they're still doing the whole will they, won't they thing, I'm going to cry foul.
So, a new prediction for 2016. Carlos will be crying foul on the new Full Metal Panic anime.
Add it to the list. I like how you added it way far away from the Full Metal Panic point. That's just so smart. Whining. No, actually, sorry. I need to take that back because you apparently don't know how to spell. It's better.
Sony will continue to bring in third-party RPGs, keeping that niche exclusive to PS4.
Perhaps.
I think that's pretty much guaranteed, seeing as most of those Japanese developers don't like the Xbox, don't see profit in it, and therefore it's kind of a self-sustaining prophecy.
Sure.
The only ones that I think Microsoft will see will be Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15. The big name ones, where Square can't afford to release only on one system.
We'll see the Western ones. If there's a new Elder Scrolls, they'll see it, but I mean...
But that Elder Scrolls is a Western thing. That's not a Japanese.
So it's still RPG. Did you say RPG or JRPG?
I said RPG.
You said third-party RPGs. No, don't change it. You meant what you said.
PlayStation Now will get rolled into the PSN subscription by July. This is as long as Microsoft keeps up the backwards compatibility updates.
Okay.
Because that's really their... I think Sony's whole thing right now of bringing out old PS2 games with trophies and a graphic upgrade through hardware isn't going to go too far for the prices that they're charging. Nostalgia is great, but if that's your backwards compatibility, that's not really backwards compatibility. And I figure there'll be a Star Wars The Force Awakens extended cut.
Cool. Dave's predictions 2016. Let's talk a bit about your predictions. Obviously a terrible list. Nowhere near my list of predictions. Obviously you're just reaching and playing it safe. Not taking any real risks with any predictions at all. All in all, I'd rate your list 0 out of 100. 0 out of anything is the same score, Carlos. No, good predictions. Good predictions. So, any more predictions talk before we move on to our admittedly sparse remaining amount of other topics?
Well, having used an Xbox now for a few weeks, almost a month, I can honestly say that the interface is horrible.
Which we talked about in the last episode, as I recall.
Briefly. But the system's not bad. I mean, I've been playing Sunset Overdrive, and for a game that is now from 2014, it still looks great. and it plays amazing, which kind of surprises me that there hasn't been a part 2 announced for it, seeing as it was an Xbox One exclusive. So I'm only partway through the game, I'm already like, okay, when can I expect part 2 of this? It's just zany fun with the mechanics to the game. There's not really leveling up of your character. Like you do a badge system for improving your stats. Your weapons level up, and you can slap what they call amps onto it that give different effects at different thrill levels, if you will. As you're in combat, if you do jump off of things and you're grinding and doing other stuff, your excitement level builds up, and at certain levels, your amps do different things. And the more powerful the amp, the more excitement has to be generated before it triggers.
Amp!
So I've been having lots of fun with that. The Gears of War remaster looks great.
Mm-hmm.
It's been playing great as well, so no complaints there. Still kind of pissed off that Microsoft's controllers don't have batteries in them, but
we should probably note that the remaster, since we're on Act 5 now, does include the PC-exclusive content from Gears of War PC.
Yes, that we're just getting to now.
Which you haven't played, but I have. It's a cool little bit of extra content at the beginning of Act 5 before you go onto the train, and it involves fighting a Brumach, which is the first big appearance of the Brumach in Gears other than Gears 2.
Okay.
Because in 2, Brumachs were everywhere, and they were a big part of the whole, like, you finish the game with a Brumach in that game. So,
yeah.
I have some video game talk about the PlayStation 4. Did you know Super Star Wars was released on PlayStation 4? The old SNES title? The 2D platformer?
For how much?
I don't know. But I mean, here's the thing. It was released, it was spruced up. They rejiggered features in it, like they added leaderboards, they made sure the controls all reference PlayStation buttons. I haven't tried it yet though, because the Super Star Wars games, Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi, were fun 2D platformers and brutally difficult. But part of the reason they were difficult is because they ran at this very awkward frame rate.
Yeah.
Like, most SNES games ran at 60 frames a second, with a select few running at 30. But this game ran at, like, a weird rate. It was, like, 46 something frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, here's the thing. Normally, when a game runs at less than a certain frame rate, there are, like, the off frames where you can put in an input just get translated to the next frame they could have possibly happened in, right? Well, in this game, they do, but it's weird in that it's not consistent. Like, the frame rate worked in this weird way where sometimes your controls were a little delayed. Sometimes you tap jump and you jump. Sometimes you tap jump and your character waits a little bit. It was really unusual, and I kind of hope that got cleaned up in this version, that it's just easier to control. Because they were fun games. They made no sense at all. The very first boss in the very first level is the Sarlacc pit monster. I mean, they made no sense whatsoever, but they were fun as shit. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, you gotta make Super Force Awakens. You gotta make a Force Awakens game in the same style as the old Super Star Wars, with the same, like, sprites and the same art style, and just make it play well.
Sadly, Disney will never do that.
I know, but fuck them. They gotta do it.
See, I still want them to bring out that Japanese Star Wars game.
Why? The one where Darth Vader turns into a scorpion?
Yes!
The one that you die in one hit?
No.
Yeah, you die in one hit on that one. It's the American ones that you get multiple hits.
Oh. Still, I wouldn't mind playing it.
God, Darth Vader's angry video game nerds' reaction to that is still priceless.
It's great. It's like, what the fuck's going on?
Right.
Or I'd love to play that Japanese version of Back to the Future. The good one.
That one might be okay. Better than ours. Oh God.
Oh, way better than ours.
Yep. Yeah, fun times. So I'm out of topics to talk about. Do we got voicemail?
No, we don't.
Okay. Folks, we hope you enjoyed our 4th annual Fat Guy Prediction Cast. Join us next year when we will look back on this and see how well it went. What does the new year hold for Two Fat Guys? More explosions, for sure. Gimmick characters introduced for no reason. I keep wanting Dave to do a special interview series where he interviews people, and I got quite a few guests lined up for you if you ever want to do this. There's Joe Camel, Zoltan Cool from Diablo 3.
No.
Some bum found on the street calls himself Burt's Bees. Some weird Miss Piggy sounding motherfucker. And your future self.
Not happening. I'm not doing interviews.
Because here's the thing, Dave. You have such an interviewing voice.
I do not.
You do. I have heard from so many of our fans that Dave needs to do interviews. This needs to be a big part of Two Fat Guys Talk.
And I keep on hearing from our fans we need to do more, we need to do the new Madoka series.
Yeah, well, those fans are wrong. If you're one of the fans who isn't wrong and you want Dave to do that, go to our site, twofatguystalk.com, and tell Dave why he should do an interview series with various great characters like Wario, Waluigi, and anyone else I can voice. And while you're there, you should check out carlosanddaveanimerave.com, or just twofatguystalk.com will take you there too. We do various anime series that we review, and some series that aren't anime, but we throw in the anime rave because fuck you, it's our show. You can't fucking stop us. I think that's it. I think we're good.
We're out.
We are out like clout. Really, Carlos?